did it! And those watching on stream, to catch you up real quick, Cameron has thought of the brilliant idea to walk with salt in his pockets, with ice spikes on his shoes, in an ice storm, to toss salt on his way up, and then come back, take off the ice spikes, and just walk in slush and still potential ice, or to keep the ice spikes on and not have anything to use them on. Basically rendering them pointless either way. And the discussion here is that Cameron can't understand how stupid this is, and how ridiculously wasting of money it is. I appreciate you, Cameron, but think, please. If you have an idea, if you ever come up and say, you know what, Royce, or you ever say to yourself, Cameron, I have a great idea. For a moment, take a second and say, if I had to explain this to Royce, would he call me stupid? And if the answer is yes,
stupid regardless.
No, I wouldn't. I would not. If it's a smart plan, if you think that, then you've only come to me with stupid ideas. That is not my fault.
Some decent ideas. You still go, that's pretty fucking stupid.
If you thought it was decent and I called it stupid, then it's still stupid. That's the thing. Because I don't call ideas stupid unless they actually are. Oh, God. Oh, I need weed. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to a rejected, or not rejected, my brain doesn't even work. A peaceful future.
I have ceased his brain from working. We have a chance, everybody.
It is true. I can confirm your level of stupidity is infecting me, and it's a problem. We thought COVID was the problem, guys. No, there's a new virus out there. It's called Cameron Brain Power. God damn it, Cheston. That's Cameron every time he comes into a conversation with us and says, I had a brilliant idea, guys.
I'm sitting here in the middle of an argument. Hey, you're wondering how it ended up like this. Well, it all started 20 minutes ago.
Alright, so, okay. Before we start session, 2 quick announcements. First off, for Tuesday, we will be having a one-shot sort of game where the Enders campaign is going to be basically going through a couple of levels of hell and doing a full campaign to end their campaign coming up on Tuesday for those who are showing up or who are going to show up to watch it. It will end this Tuesday regardless of if the party succeeds or not. Second announcement, and I forgot what my second... God damn, Cameron. Fucking Jesus, man. I've had 3 cups of coffee, and I can't even think. This is still contemplating. I'm still bothered by this thought process.
Don't worry about my thought process. Just leave it alone.
I like puzzles.
Forget about it.
You are one of the most difficult puzzles. It's like going into a Rubik's Cube, and all sides are white. You have no idea what actually matches together, but they're all like a slight off shade. And you don't understand, and it takes out years to fucking fix.
No,
that is Cameron's thought process to me.
There's one yellow square, and you don't know what to do with it.
Anyways, you mean the last brain cell surviving in Cameron right now?
Exactly, you don't know where it goes.
He's doing his best, guys. We're trying to help him. Okay.
Donate to the people who have lack of brain cells today.
So, alright, I don't remember my other announcements, at all, other than the fact that Friday's session will be on Tuesday this week. That will be the end session, which means the next Friday session will not take place until all of the campaigns are complete and go back to the Age of Chaos session. There is a reason we're doing that. It's to both keep allow me to get a chance to do some lore work, as well as allowing the parties to not affect each other. I don't want to have to try and run things where that happens, and I'm not a big fan of doing alternate timelines in my games, just because I like to let my players' mistakes, or existence in Cameron's case, continue to cause problems for the rest of the world. So, now that I've thoroughly tried to contemplate Cameron's thought process, and I'm going to be thinking about this for the rest of the day to figure out how he thought of this. Let's continue our session from last time. So, yes, as I was saying, last time we left off, before this thought process happened, the party, if I remember correctly, having landed in the capital of the Drowlands, managed to do a little scouting out after contacting the court or the royals of the local area to try and get audience with them to speak to them about their quest in the Drownlands for both the, if I remember right, the tree or pieces of the tree that they needed, as well as Sarah having some personal interest in these territories. After spending some time marching about, looking around, and exploring the town, the party came to a few realizations that there was only one male merchant there, the rest being majority female. And not really finding what Sarah was seeking. However, Sarah did later drop a major bomb on the party, which if you want to find out, you need to go watch the previous episode. But I highly recommend it. And the party ran into both Temidar and a interesting drow figure, which I am trying to remember the name of off the top of my head. I know I have his character. Here it is. Adric. Having ran into Adric and Temidar, the party adopted Temidar into their group, having found out he was Meon's adopted son, not biological son, which I know someone's going to question that. Because let's be honest, we don't know how dumb Temidar is going to be yet. So when we find out, then we'll know the truth. Party also managed to meet, as I mentioned, this Adric character who seemed to be very interested in Sarah, as Sarah was just as interested, it seemed. But if you want to find out more, go watch the previous episode. So we come back to the party having spent the night in the inn and having gained their royal summons to meet with the princess as the party headed off in that direction. However, before we do that, we're going to jump into another character who has finally rejoined the party, or will be rejoining the party shortly.
Hello.
Yes, he has returned, the one and only man who tries to screw my campaigns over, while the other is just screws up my brain with his idiotic schemes. We bring in the secondary man to ruin the world, Wolf. Yes?
Make me the yin to Cameron's yang.
No, that's accurate, honestly, in this world. I'm sorry to tell you.
I feel like you've just been insulted, Wolf.
I love that you only assume Wolf was insulted in that.
I mean, I don't take it as an insult anymore. There's no point in it. Because you'll say whatever the fuck you want.
I'm still confused on the salt.
Salt, the greatest mystery ever.
No, please, continue. Just thinking up my next nuclear bomb.
As far as it goes, emotional damage.
Do I just deal radiant psychic damage constantly?
Yes. Yes, you do, to me at least. So, that's why whenever we play games together now, I'm very stoned. It makes it much easier to understand, Cameron. Anyways, as I was saying, so yes, we jump over to Terias, who has spent his last few days, in the inn itself, of the Whores Union. As the rest of the party has been long gone, Terias has been both drawing up a design, working on ideas, and drinking, having no idea what's going on outside the city, or even his room for that matter. Bottles just keep showing up, and that's all that matters. So Terias, you've been here for a while. You've lost track of the time. Your design is finally complete. Your creation is finally built up. You've managed to using one of their magics, found a way to shrink the plane to make it portable, and easier to take with you. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna head outside my room.
All right, as you open the door, first off you're greeted with spider webs and dust everywhere. You also see on the ground right in front of you on this very darkened wood, as it's about midnight at this point as you're coming out, not realizing the time of, what time of day it was, and a white envelope with a little wax seal is just sitting there.
Well, fancy that. Looks like it's my lucky day. I'll reach down and open it up.
All right, as you do, as you open it up and the smell of Mion's semi-perfume of I'm stealing all your shit and running away, and Dream Lily. Yeah. You get a little bit of a contact high off the scent of the Dream Lily.
Love it. I expect nothing less.
It reads, "Going to the Drowlands. See you soon."
Oh. Is it dated?
It is not.
It is.
But there is dust on the outside, and last time you remember, this place was clean and spotless. So also, you don't hear anybody.
So, drinks kept coming,
Uh-huh.
but there's dust on the floor.
Yes. The drinks would appear in your room as they showed up in your bar. As
Oh, dope.
the room contorted to, it's become a more common spell for a lot of inns now. That rooms can become or be enchanted to customize to the user's needs.
Yo, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Science is really taking us places, man.
Yes, science, like throwing salt when you have ice spikes.
How dare you?
I'm going to make a spell a showdown that just throws the pillar of salt and ice.
I'm gonna wrestle with this for the rest of the night.
Anti-ice magic.
Now we need to
You know
take
that
the South
11th
Pole.
level spell Blizka?
Uh-huh.
This immediately cancels it.
This is where we're...
Don't give him ideas.
It's a salt.
This counteracts Blizzica. This is a 9th level spell, Saltica.
Shut up.
Okay,
No, it's
that was...
Look, Cameron. It's
I
called,
lost you.
It's called Salt Storm. Leave me alone.
Cameron, that name was as ingenious as throwing salt when you have ice spikes. Don't help, Sarah. Alright.
Just over here in the background,
Posting gifs.
causing chaos.
Alright, so yes, it's dark. You remember the streets
Yes.
being more lit up, and yeah, you hear no one around.
I'm gonna go exploring. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna try and see what I can find here.
as you walk out and start heading down the stairs, the thick dust kind of picks up, causing yourself to kind of get congested. You run into a spider web or two that is kind of just in the way, and
Like big spider webs
yep,
or
like
cobwebs?
like big spider webs. And you see what looks to be as you're kind of looking around in the kitchen, you see a pile of what looks to be a little bit of a darker dust, and what looks to have once been a coat of or some sort of robes laying on there from the imprint on the dust. Looking outside, you see a dwarven body, and you recognize it as one of the barkeeps just laying out there with an arrow sticking out of his chest.
He's still
I'm
there.
gonna draw my weapons, dude.
All right. As you do you wish to leave the inn, or are you gonna stay inside?
Do I see or hear or smell anything outside of the inn? Like anything?
So, but I mean, being a little congested from the dust, I mean, you can smell the fresh hair. You don't. It's very, very quiet. The lanterns on the streets aren't lit, and you can see giant banners floating from almost every single building now.
What are the banners?
They show a upside down crown with horns coming out of it.
Well, I don't imagine I know what that is.
Nope, it was not common in the Gnomish lands at all.
Yeah.
And you're not a religious person.
No, I am not.
But you do see overhead as you look up into the sky. You can clearly see giant B-12 bombers flying overhead off. It's both south and to the west.
Not bad, not bad. I'm gonna head for the workshop where I met the twins.
Okay. Let me see. Do I still have their character sheets in here? Let's find out. I know I have one of them in here. Let me see. Give me a minute. Give me a second or two. Was not expecting to have to get those character sheets out again. May have totally forgotten where I put them. Give me a minute to find their names.
I'm looking to fight them.
No, I
That's
just I need their names again, and that's the problem.
Oh, gotcha.
So give me a second. It's somewhere in here. I'm not buying for time at all.
Give the good old dungeon master. Ba.
Yeah, basically, because I know I had their names, because one was an artificer. You know, why don't I'll just look it up based on that. Alright. Let's see. Oh! Wait, was it Fane? Shut up, god damn it, I'm trying. It's been a while since I've had to pull up these sheets.
Been a while.
Our home group, it's we just say DM loading.
It doesn't help when, like, I know I have the character sheets somewhere. I just didn't manage to bring them. Let me see if I can find them in the chat. Oh, Lord, nope. Fuck. Let me see. Do I have them in Grim Legacy by chance? Did I remember to keep their character sheets somewhere? God damn it, where did I fucking put these guys? Nope, that's Tenham's character sheet. That's Gabo Rick, the one guy no one cares about. It just takes a moment to find their names. Can I not? Oh, I think I know where I put them. Give me a second to see if this is correct. Because I have their actual character sheets. I had to make them a while back. Fuck. Alright, well we're gonna re-roll a character sheet because I think I forgot. I have not found them. So while I do that, as you kind of head on your merry way,
My very suspicious merry way.
Listen, yeah, pretty much. Let me see, yeah. Let me find something real quick. As you head off, heading through the streets, you notice it's extremely quiet in here. Almost as if no one's around. The lanterns aren't lit. Every business seems to completely be closed. God damn it. I don't feel like that would be a Zopip name, but why not? You know what? We will go with that.
Didn't name them, to be fair.
No, Tren did, and I don't remember what he named them as, and I know I have their character sheets somewhere, but I just need something to work off for the time being. I will fix it. See, guys, this is why we don't, or whenever I prep things ahead of time, I always make sure I have character sheets of everyone. Because sometimes you forget that you have, that you have characters you need to keep track of. And I'm not totally buying again for another 2 seconds while I make another character
While
sheet.
you make a new character.
Yep, no, not at all. Don't worry, guys. It's
Not
part
at
of the
all.
whole thing.
Trust the process.
Something like that. It's funny, because I remember looking at the character sheet and saying, yeah, because one has white hair, and, okay, that works. You know what? I'm going to name it that instead. Alright. You know, this seems like a trend name, I'm not going to lie. Let's see if I can find anywhere on here. Did Trend mention the kids at all? Nope, okay. That's fine. We'll find them one day. Oh, I was looking at... Okay, doesn't matter. Anyways, so moving on. As you head off, the city being as quiet as it is, you see a couple of guards. You can see that the walls are manned, but almost every building is currently without light. And like as I said, the city is almost as if you can hear crickets chirping. Eventually making your way over there. Let me see something real quick, if my map is correct. Also, get off Minecraft, Wolf. Minecraft?
Yeah.
Are you on it?
I'm idling.
Okay, yeah, no, so as you lot, or as you walk over, you eventually come to the, goddamn, now I'm still thinking of this salt thing. And it's still distracting my brain this entire game today. I've got a bad case here. So yeah, eventually making it to the guild, you see that the building has been turned into a full-on bunker, and many of the houses that were originally nearby seem to have been all cleared out, and now just a giant, almost flat area has been set up with strange painted lines all about.
How long was I out?
You're not sure. But the workshop is completely empty.
Do the strange lines, do they look like tripwires? Do they look like...
As you look, it just
weird
seems to be
physics?
paint on the ground, in squares and rectangles. Different kind of some portions of the area seem to have giant yellow squares kind of painted around them. There seems to be a long, almost straight line set up with little white lines painted on it, and a long white line at the very end to almost give it like a cutoff. Yeah. And you see a few of the B-12 bombers set up, and on it is on one of them you see it reads Barbarian Bomber on the side, and has a drawn like giant Goliath cannonballing into a giant pool of water.
Okay, well, we love to see it. Does it look like they have any technology to shrink them down?
No. No markings as you kind of walk around, and no one's around. Again, it is absolutely silent.
Interesting. Well, in that case, I'll search around the shop for materials and stuff that I can use to craft my own crap.
Okay.
Search around for especially explosive materials, but otherwise just other steels, adamantine, stuff like that.
Okay.
And if any of these planes have any portions of them made out of some specifically much harder material, I'll just take that. I'll just break it off and take it for later.
Okay.
But I'm not going to spend too much time here.
Okay.
Yeah, this place doesn't seem like a good place to be right now, so
Okay.
after the workshop, after searching around for a little bit, I'm just going to dip.
All right. Yeah. As you look around, looking at materials, none of this stuff is anything you don't already have in excess in your own equipment.
Gotcha.
And the only thing that catches your eye that the way these are set up a little different is while yours is set up as if almost a slight smaller version of it, these bombers seem to be very much set up to house up to 6 to 8 barbarian tubes, as it's labeled as you see drawn on one of the big walls of a very big looking scrofe, looking somewhat similar to Sigrun actually, and then drawing them inside of one of the little like balls of iron and then just being dropped out of a plane. And it looks like it's designed to hold 6 of them.
Nice.
Mhm.
I'll just kind of make a little mental note of that sort of design.
Mm-hmm.
Noted that my design is much different, but in a way that I like better.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna bamf my plane out in one of the large, like, flattened, opened areas, because it looks like these were made to just be runways.
Mm-hmm. That's what you gather. Yeah.
I'll shoot my plane out. It's not quite as big as the bombers, but it's still pretty sizable.
Yep.
It's got, I mean, it's armed to the teeth.
All right.
It's good enough.
So as you get in and start taking off, give me a performance check with your where is it? Proficiency.
Performance?
Yes.
Sure. Like charisma.
Yes.
Okay. 8.
All right. So as you getting in the plane and take off from the runway, heading off in the general direction of where you remember the Drowlands, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. It's going to take you a little while to get there as you start taking off, but as you begin flying, you start to see definitely where you, looking down at the ground from your cockpit, the indents of where what looks to be either explosions or large objects have been, have basically landed outside of the walls recently. Looking on, you see a couple of the guards seem to wave at you, not realizing, you know, who you are and that you're not part of the military.
So there are people.
Yeah, on the walls.
So I see people on the walls, but
Yeah.
like
There were
no
none
one
in the
anywhere
city.
else.
Yeah.
Strange.
As you start heading out, you can see off in the distance a couple of groups of these bigger bombers flying in almost a triangle-like shape. And as they continue heading off towards the same direction you're generally going, after a while you finally see the massive horde of... From this distance, it's hard to make out, but they're colorful creatures. And they definitely seem to come in like the different chromatic shades. It doesn't take long to figure out most of them are probably Dragonborn. They are not flying. But you do see they're being what looks like almost marched as this giant horde back to Dragon's Gate, or at least in the direction of Dragon's Gate, and what looks like elves and dwarves marching them on the sides.
Oh, like prisoners?
Yes.
Brutal.
After about another little while, you eventually see at the very back of this massive horde that is being marched what looks to be a giant golden pyramid of sorts, almost like a giant, kind of a bigger chassis being carried by a group of people. You're not sure. They could be elves, they could be dwarves, they could be humans, but you can tell they're definitely not Dragonborn. But as this thing's being carried, as you look more at or closely at it, you can see it's a little red throne chair at the top of the pyramid, and there lies a dead Dragonborn in full golden armor. And it looks like it is chained to the chair, but it is not moving.
Missed.
As you continue flying, kind of starting to pivot more northward, you come across what looks to be the Mountain Elf Kingdoms. You've never visited, but you know they're big mountains, and there's castles on the side made of wood. It's either an elf or it's a bandit, one of the two. And from this distance, as you kind of look down, you can see a little more clearly these cities. You can see that their walls, which are historically written as wooden, the mountain elves being very respectful of nature and wanting to be kind to the few trees they have in their lands. Their walls look all to gleam in the sunlight. As you notice, they're some sort of metal. And you can see large bronze circular objects looking a lot like cannons mounted on the walls.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a wide berth around those.
Alright. As you continue, you realize that was smart as one of them attempts to shoot at you, missing valiantly, as it doesn't come within a good half a mile of you, as it just kind of plops into the ground somewhere off in the distance. But as you eventually finally cross over, you can see small little towns, and then you do see from the distance a giant white or darkened brick with strips of white walls that you'd guess were maybe 4 stories high, and this giant, almost blackened dome, not made of glass, but almost as if a blackened fog had come over the city. Yeah.
Spooky.
And that is the general. You know that to be the royal capital. Where would you like to try and land this ship? Or are you parachuting out of it?
I do have a parachute, right?
The assumption was made.
From the,
Parachutes are a lot easier than making B-12 bombers, yeah. No, I would assume you'd have a parachute.
True.
The very simpler models, but yes.
Yeah, I'm going to pop out the side of my plane and shrink it.
Okay.
Shrink it down in my hand and parachute down.
Okay. Alright, so as you come flying into the town on a parachute that you really can't directionally aim, it just kind of goes with wind. Thankfully, there's no wind up in this far north currently. The weather is quite clear skies. But as you come, are you trying to land in the city or outside the city?
I'm trying to land outside.
Okay.
I feel like I could draw bad attention if I
So,
landed inside.
as you kind of eventually come down to the ground, finding yourself next to a little snowy embankment where you land, you see a group of men fully armored to the teeth in full plate with different markings on their chests, on the chest plates, spears at the ready, and one of them seems to have a net in his hand. As they come running up to you, they go, "Identify yourself," holding their spears in your general direction.
These guys.
Terias, chill. What's the deal?
Man looks at you and goes, Who is your owner?"
My owner is Mion.
The man looks at you.
Do I know Mion's last name?
Nope, you don't.
Mion doesn't have a last name.
The guards kind of look at each other and go, "We don't know anybody by that. What drow? You serve a drow woman by the name? We'll keep you. We'll have you detained until we find your master."
No, she sent me out on a chore. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Roll a persuasion check.
How many of them are there?
There's 2.
And we're outside the city, right?
Yes. However, I will see within about a distance, you can still clearly see the long line of people trying to get into the town.
Gotcha.
Alright, you said, what, 14?
14.
Okay, so for that would be... Okay, so it's a wisdom check for them. Okay, let me see... Okay, the guard looks at you and goes, "Huh. Alright, we'll have you, we'll send word. You'll have to remain outside the city until your master comes to retrieve you. So long as you don't do anything suspicious or treasonous towards our lands, you're welcome to remain at the gate with us."
Why, thank you very kindly.
He nods.
If, one of you could send word.
They nod and they say, "We'll have a runner
I'm
sent
sure
immediately."
my owner wouldn't appreciate me being delayed too much.
The men nod. And as they kind of walk you back to the gate, you're not under cuffs, and their spears are now aimed up, not really affected, but they are standing on either side of you to make sure you don't run. They return to their posts and start talking again with the people entering the city. One of the first things you notice is that almost all of the males that are coming into the city have some sort of chain on them, and most have tattoos on their face, in some design or another.
Fun.
And the women seem to, those few female drow you see, most of them seem to be wearing some sort of armor, and those that do not tend to wear a lot of classy jewelry, very well dressed, almost in nobleman's clothing. And while these two male guards continue to allow people through and questioning people, eventually a runner is sent, and we'll come back to you in a moment. Sarah, Temidar, Sigrun, who is being played by Sarah currently, while for character stats wise, and Mion. As you lot are being escorted by these female guards on the sides of you, heading towards the Principality's castle, or Princess Palady? I don't know if there was a general difference at the time when that term was made. Anyways, but as you lot begin heading up towards the castle, a young-looking male in very simple clothing comes rushing up to you. Sarah, you recognize this man. He looks very similar to the runner you had met previously when you had been sending out letters, almost like a younger version of him. And as he comes running up to the guards all stop, and she speaks to him for a second, and the kid turns and runs over to you, Sarah, and goes, I have a letter for your compatriot Mion? As he looks
Thank you.
He
Yeah,
nods.
I'll take it.
He hands you the letter and goes, You're welcome. Have a great day," as he nods and kind of backs up slowly and then turns and runs off again. Alright.
I will open it.
Okay. As you pop it open, it reads simply that the master known as Mion has a slave waiting at the gate. A small red monster of some sort.
As I hand the letter to Mion.
Reads the same.
I'll read it and I'll be like, oh, he's finally left his room.
Seems that way. Sarah will say to the guards, "Can we bring this little red one to us, or have somebody escort them?"
The captain kind of looks over at you and nods along and says, yes, we'll have one of our attachments. You hear her suddenly yell really loudly in Elvish, calling for another guard group, or another patrol, and 3 patrols come running around the corner as fast as possible, coming to this woman, as 2 of them are immediately dismissed and another is sent back to the gate, and she nods to Sarah and goes, We've sent a team.
Thank you.
She nods and goes, "We'll await them at the bottom of the staircase before entering the Principality, as that way we do not have to make any annoyances upon the princess herself or the prince," as she continues to march you lot off. About an hour goes by of walking until you lot finally manage to reach the stairs. It takes a bit, as you kind of weave in between different roads. You see a few protests here and there of what looks to be male drow and slaves of other races kind of picketing outside of one of the larger houses. It doesn't go very well. It's just mostly them shouting behind a iron fence that's set up around them. But they continue to chant on about anti-slavery and the equal rights of other races.
That won't end well here.
As you state this, one of the guards kind of looks over at you, Temidar, and kind of nods and continues to march. As you lot make it there, we're going to jump back over real quick, though. Terias, About an hour of just standing here watching these two guards doing their job kind of goes by. And finally, a group of very well decorated, gold lining around their armor, weapons that are far sharper and much more magical, coming out, walking out with different runes and designs, fancier metals being used. This group come out patrolling. They all have what looks to be these iron masks on, with this strange, like, black tinted glass over the eye holes. And one of them with her larger purple, almost like mohawk, designed to show her rank, comes up and speaking to the guards in Elvish, which I assume you don't know. Terios?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm checking. No, I do not.
Okay. So,
I know a lot of languages.
yeah, as they begin speaking, the guard looks down at you and goes, in common says, "Follow us."
Hi ho, Hotman. Let's go.
You can't see it, but you can feel the irritation coming from that comment. As you find yourselves now standing in the middle of 6 guards plus this patrol lead, as they start marching you through the city. Do you have dark vision?
I do.
Okay. So you can see, as you realize the city is covered in a some sort of darkness physics. Someone's emitting very thick clouds causing the darkness.
Is it someone or something?
You have no idea. You just know it's dark everywhere around you.
Gotcha.
But as you start marching, you see.
Like,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, is it like spooky, ominous dark, or is it just like dark?
It's just dark. It's a magical darkness. So as you start heading through, immediately upon entering the city, where this darkness kind of takes over the area, you can clearly see male drows as in full on, like, almost like potato sack bags of clothing. Very simple. Many of them having chains around their wrists. Again, seeing more of those tattooed marks, and they seem to almost kind of cower away as these as these guards kind of walk by. And as you kind of look around, you start to notice these are female drow that are guarding you and marching you off. And as you kind of get a walk through the city, taking through the market, you start to see the giant slave stalls where many people are being sold from all over the world, different races. All seem to be male, as you hear the drow shouting out in common, as a few non-female drow seem to be, more of other races seem to be standing in the center square bidding on the slaves. And as the guards continue to walk you off, one of them comments that you would fetch a very high price, being as unique as you are.
Take the
I'm not
compliment.
gonna say anything.
The guard just kind of
I know.
The guard just kind of looks at you and goes, taking your silence as an agreement. She goes, "You're lucky to have such a kind master to be willing to be brought to the principality. To be the slave of a slave, though, must be truly the worst of honors."
Truly.
As she goes kind of back to being silent and continues the march. Eventually, you come upon the group of Sarah, Mion, Sigrun, but you don't see Nick or his dragon anywhere. Instead, you see a rather tall tabaxi that has seemed to have joined the party and seems to be rather close to Mion.
Oh.
Telling her nods and greeting.
Hello, master. I bow towards Mion.
One of the guards kind of looks confused at Sarah for a second.
It's a pet.
They were very good. I decided to reward them slightly after years of service.
The guard nods and goes, "Truly, you let them walk around with no chains, and on top of that, they are rewarded with their own slaves? what the life of a slave to a slave would be like. And she kind of you see her kind of turn off. This isn't one of the guard captain. This isn't the guard captain. Just one of the random guards that's kind of been following you a lot and making small talk. She seems to kind of stare off in the distance as if she's contemplating a thought.
Ah, yes, how awful it must be.
Finally, after Terias is brought back, the captain kind of turns around and she looks at you, Sarah, and goes, "Are we expecting any others?" As she says in Elvish.
No, that is it.
Okay. She nods and says, "Then we'll be on our way. Make sure your slaves understand that if they should touch anything, break anything, look at any of the women in this castle wrong, they are permanent to lose their hands, tongues, eyes, and nose."
Sarah will just say, "Please follow the rules."
Are any of these are these drow women? I mean, they gotta be attractive, right?
You don't know. They're full on in full plate, covered head to toe in metal. When you first showed up here, Terias, you couldn't tell until you saw their effeminate faces that these were women. You would have guessed they were the same as the men that were out front. Yes.
Cool.
It's hard to tell the difference at this point with that much metal on them. But the guard captain kind of looks at you, hearing what you say, nods and kind of starts marching up. It's a good 20 minutes of stair climbing. They seem to be a big fan of their grandiose stairs here. You can see the guards.
For a small character. Not a
Temdar's
fan.
enjoying this nice
That
exercise.
will carry you if you ask.
Yeah, Sigrun has carried me on a few times now. The guards themselves even seem, God damn it, seem a little tired by the walk. As you can hear their heavy breathing walking up these stairs. Especially in full plate. We don't have Sigrun here to comment how easy this is, unfortunately.
Temdar will comment on how easy this is because
His legs are so long.
he's panther and he is strong.
As you lot kind of continue marching up, you eventually come to the top of the staircase, and as you're standing there looking up at the castle, you see there's 3 more flights. And you can hear the guards sigh of annoyance.
Temdar offers to carry me on.
No, I'm fine. This is normal.
Terias, in the meantime, in the back, like, fuck you, fuck this.
Terias is just me, dude. He's just me.
Temdar's gonna
He's-
offer to carry
he's
Terias if he's
strong,
getting
but
tired.
He doesn't have endurance.
It's all man to carry this man.
Oh, man. Yeah, Temdar turned and offered to carry you, Terias. Do you accept?
No.
Okay.
That's humiliating as all get out. Get out of here.
Alright.
Alright.
After 1 hour of climbing stairs, you
piss off.
finally come to the top, where it levels out and you see the castle itself being this large slate building, being almost as dark as the darkness around you lot. Again, for those who don't have dark vision, you are completely blind, unless you have a spell otherwise.
I think we all have dark vision now. You just think items are racial traits.
Everyone but Sigrun.
Sigrun and
Nope,
Miondo.
Sigrun has it.
I have dark vision goggles. So you
Oh,
can-
that's right. And Sigrun was attached to Sarah, so...
Not bother mentioning the axe.
Actually, yeah, Sigrun does have it
Yeah,
because of the
she-
axe.
We can all see.
Yeah, they have it.
Yeah. All right. For once, I have a party that can see in the dark. As you lot look on this magnificent, bright purples with this slate trim, the castle is gorgeous by a slightly darker shades than what you're accustomed to, having been in Dragon's Gate, where marble was more the common material, or the giant blue walls that not anybody who does, other than probably, or at this point, Terias and the Artificers Guild understands what the walls are made out of. But as you kind of finally get up there, you see as the entrance a small staircase of 5 steps, and you see the 2 royal guards standing at the sides of the entrance, kind of open up the castle, and inside you can see the massive a meeting hall / throne room, where as you walk up these stairs, immediately you are almost smacked in the face by this lavender-like smell that is slightly, almost thicker than the air itself, causing many, even the guards to cough from the thickness of it. As you see, God damn it, as you see this slender female figure sitting with almost a like crystal-like material on her crown at the center of this rather large pillar. It's about 10 feet up off the ground, as if she's always looking down on you. And then besides her, you lot recognize almost immediately Arctic, the old drow man from earlier. Sitting at a chair that's on the leveled ground and looks to be just a wooden chair with some carpet stapled onto it or glued to it as he sits there in full royal regalia. The princess herself also, but in her case having massive like silk dress that almost flows down to the ground. You can see clearly there's a stairway up to her throne, so she's probably climbed as many stairs as you lot have this day. And as you enter, the guards immediately drop to their knees, minus the guard captain who announces Sarah, and she looks at you for a moment as she's reading your name and goes, Sarah what?
Anatova.
And she shouts out loud, we have Sarah Anatova and her slaves, Sigrun, Temidor, Mion, and the slave's slave of... And she looks down to Terias and then looks over to Mion and then looks back at Sarah and goes, in Elvish, what's the name?
The slave is Terias.
She nods. And Terios, the slave, as she puts the scroll away. And as you look at the scroll, it's completely blank.
Of course.
Gal rolls it up and turns and stands to the side at attention. The princess, for a moment, looks down at you lot from above, and her image is almost magnified into a larger, like, blue lighted version of herself standing in front of you, still standing almost 12 feet tall above you at her head height from this image. And she, speaking in Elvish again, looks to Sarah Anatova and goes, and what might be your business that you would request a meeting with myself?
May I approach... I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I can show you.
She looks down at you and goes, Your Majesty will work. You do not know... if you do not know my name, then you are not worth my time. And she takes a second and goes, what? Feel free to approach.
As Sarah approaches, she attempts to do a slower shift of the armor away from the armor down to the bracelet. Mm-hmm. I'm not certain if that would work, but that's what she's attempting to do.
Yeah, it would take a little focus, so walking would be a little more difficult, but yeah.
And yeah, I will, like, if there's a couple steps up to like a platform and then steps up to like her throne type of a thing, Sarah would walk up to like probably the base of the steps, and then say that this bracelet found me, and I was told that coming here I may receive answers, possibly of yourself, or I was told there is a tree here that may gather or gain me more knowledge. She will take a kneel, and she will kneel at the bottom of the steps.
As you do so, the image seems to kind of bend over and look closer at your bracelet for a moment, and the princess kind of takes a second as she straightens herself back up, kind of straightening her dress, and goes, Well, Sarah Anatova, you are worth knowing. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Princess Hanali of House Hanali, one of the minor houses of the Drowlands, recently crowned. And she takes a moment and goes, or looks over to the gentleman sitting in the very uncomfortable looking chair, and goes, and this is my prince consort, if you will, Adric. His last name is of no note to any of the history books. So, if you will, we will cease the current situation. I would like to meet with you more in the personal hall so we may discuss this artifact of which you have found yourself possessing.
Yes, very well. And sorry, the Herald, I did not tell my full name. I very rarely use it. It is actually Seraphina, in case that matters to you at all.
She nods and goes, well then, Seraphina, we will dine this evening. Your slaves are welcome. Your slave is not, as you must understand, I cannot have them at my table. Such a vile creature filled with such rage truly is not worthy of Drow royalty. But this once I will allow you to bring your own, your compatriot, your slaves there. She takes a minute. I will meet with you this evening. And she you see as she claps her hands and the image disappears, and you see the princess above stand up, kind of look down for a second, almost as if she kind of holding herself to make sure she doesn't slip, and goes, and by the way, you'll be the first half-drow I've met today. And she kind of turns and walks off. You hear for a second
Sarah.
it's like cling, as it sounds like something kind of clinged from the top.
Yeah, Sarah will just kind of do the the regal nod as she's kneeling, not responding, just nodding.
Alright. As a few moments go by, you hear the clicking of her heels kind of disappear into the distance. And then you see Adric kind of stand up, wipe himself off as dust kind of seems to plume around him, and he looks at you lot and goes, well, she didn't kill you. That's a good sign. Temidar, good luck. As he turns and walks off.
Oh, thank you, friend. Bye.
Oh, by the way, as he's starting to walk down the hall, he kind of points up a finger and shouts as you hear the echo, she really enjoys heads on spikes. And he continues off.
Oh, I can't acquire them right now. They're out of season.
Wouldn't we all?
They're out of season. Now there's some lore for the world. Get your heads on
It's been too
spikes.
peaceful lately.
As the prince seems to disappear back into the hallways, the captain of the guard kind of turns and kind of steps back in front of you, Sarah, and goes, we'll be escorting you to your place of stay for the night. You will be dining with the princess herself, and I do warn you, any ruckus that is caused within the palace will be met with death almost upon immediate discovery. And she looks over at Mion specifically.
What? I haven't done anything.
And she looks back to Sarah and goes, that is my advice for both your slaves and yourself.
Sarah nods.
And she, the captain of the guard, kind of stands back to attention, smacks her staff into the ground, and the guards kind of fall in beside you and start escorting you off in one of the side hallways. Eventually, you're brought to a smaller room that looks almost like a barracks, made of the same material as the hallways. These hallways with these giant, beautiful purple paintings on the pillars themselves with gold trim, and look to be encrusted with different gemstones. The floor itself seems to have a small little waterway where you can see fresh fish swimming about in this small little coral reef beneath you. And eventually you find yourself in this smaller barracks setup. As you meet, when you first come in, you see that the barracks themselves are set up as almost a bunk bed system. 8 bunk beds in total, 4 to each side, and chests at the end of each of them. They also each have a little desk with a bucket filled with what looks to be water as you look around. And then there's a doorway on the other side, on the far side of it, where the captain of the guard kind of escorts Sarah, and as she opens the door, it seems to be a bit of a bigger room than the barracks, with a single master or king-size bed, its own little porcelain bathtub, and a full wardrobe set up for it, as well as a small table for meetings. And the captain of the guard goes, Your slaves will stay in the barracks. They won't be permitted to leave once they've laid down for the day. They will be marked immediately, so we'll be able to track them if they should escape. And these will be your chambers, where I will let you know anything you speak of can be heard. She just looks to you as if this is normal day to day.
Okay.
And as you say that, she turns and clicks her heels, and the guards start walking out and close the door behind them. What would you all like to do?
Hamdar's just gonna look around. It's very nice here. He's been in nobles' houses selling stuff before and for receiving accolades and whatnot, but never in full-on royalty.
I want to cause some ruckus.
I will stop him because I do not wish to die.
Didn't
Sarah
say,
will- Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean,
Okay. Sarah, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
what did you want to do?
Yeah, she will pull out, 'cause she's got a journal that she used to keep for research stuff and things
Yes.
like that. Take a couple blank, or go to like first blank page, and write out, "I'm sorry for the ruse of all this. Please follow along. I can maybe finally find something out about this bracelet," and like leave it on the table in motion for people to look at.
Okay. Yeah.
As soon as she puts that down, I'm gonna like snatch the paper and start scribbling furiously. What the hell is going on?
Terias, who's been gone for ages.
How have I been gone?
So for the party, Terias has only been gone for about a week.
Yeah, so this is probably safe to say out loud. So Sarah will say, "We've made our way here. Obviously gained entry to the city. Nick, before he left, made a drawing of the bracelet, and then it's still in bracelet form. And sent a note to the royalty here to try to get an audience so that we can get, hopefully, to whatever this tree is that we need to figure things out. And maybe I'll finally find something out about this, because it's been attached to me since I found it. So that's where we're at. Terias, if you have anything to share, you can. I'm assuming you've maybe finished whatever you were working on.
Yeah. How big is the room right now?
Not big enough to put the thing out fully. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'll take out.
This is a
what
20-foot
looks like
room.
Just a small little toy plane. If anybody knows what a Lockheed AC-130 Hercules looks like, that's what it is.
For those who don't, Wolf, would you mind posting a general picture of it in the Discord?
Absolutely. I would love to.
That's terrifying.
No, it isn't. It's not nearly as bad as some of the other shit that's going on in the world.
Considering ancient times, that's kind of terrifying.
Not as ancient as you were hoping.
I'm going to scribble down on the piece of paper because I don't know how much this government knows. So I finished my plane's design, and I may have sold a design to a really, really cool scientist who was also kind of cute, and he said he would be reproducing it for the city of Dragon's Gate and that whole empire, and it looks like they did a lot. Dragonborn Empire, the great Golden Tau Empire, has fallen. Tau is either dead or chained up or both. I don't know if y'all knew that.
That's actually some good news.
Casually writes that down.
Yeah, well, the big points here, okay?
Yeah, the Million
Dragon's
Men
Gate
March.
seems fully abandoned. I assume all of their population is fighting right now, aside from the guards they have on the walls. Also, side note, isn't there some sort of huge vault thing there? It's probably left relatively unguarded, as opposed to what it usually is.
Temidor writes
But that's
down
not
that
like
he
main
believes that this
concern.
Okay.
Emptied.
What is Temidor writing down?
He writes down that he believes that he had heard that the vault had been emptied because he went there to get goods and was told as much through
Okay.
rumors.
Okay.
Because it was pretty famous news because
Yep.
magic items flooded the city.
And Terry has just learned something he's upset to have learned. Nothing like Dragon's Gate being flooded with magic items, yep. Alright. Anything else you'd like to share with them? Yeah.
That.
Just that? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, there you go, guys. That's that plane, but a little smaller. A little bit more compact.
It's it looks like it's a toy airplane right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a toy that no one else here has ever seen before. Alright.
Temidor writes down the fuck is that?
Please explain it for me. You know, I gotta take a piss. You know what? Start explaining the engineering behind it.
I'll explain.
Type it all out.
Not that you will understand any of it, but its wingspan is like total 132 feet from end to end. It is massive. It has a small power plant built within it to keep it up in the air. It can cruise at 362 miles an hour. I'm just trying to see if there's any, like... Current... Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it looks like. I mean, I guess I could explain the armament. It's loaded up with 3 fully loaded 105 millimeter howitzer cannons. It's loaded up with 4 or 5 clip-fed L60 40 millimeter cannons, 2 belt-fed 20 millimeter Vulcan cannons, and a 25 millimeter rotary cannon. Also has flares. Not like those would be super useful for anything but drow or other things that have sunlight sensitivity. But it's there. And yeah, I think that's the main goodness.
You've explained it pretty well, and Temidor just nods. There he reads that, and he...
Death in the sky.
That's
Translation.
Temidor just writes, flying armament.
Indeed.
Alright. So as you kind of explain through this whole list, or after a while, you can hear some of the guards kind of knocking on the door saying, please either sleep or speak louder into the enchantments.
At least they're on.
Are there any potions you wish me to work on? Temidor's gonna look at Sarah for right now. And I may be able to brew overnight.
Probably not in the palace. After what happened last time.
You've only got a
he's,
few
he's
hours.
talking regular potions. He's not talking.
I will say this: you only have a few hours before you'll be escorted to.
Well, he's trying to sell the fact that they're slaves. So after this, there's going to be other stuff to go on.
No, yeah, no worries. I'm just letting you know.
I mean, anything that you feel that can be safely done without explosions.
Tall order there, buddy boy.
In
That's
this world,
not many.
in this economy.
Especially not in this economy.
Because I would prefer not to have an explosion here in the palace.
Oh, I fully agree. It's just
One of the guards knocks
don't
on the
have-
door and goes, "Please, hold off from any explosions that may damage the palace under threat of imprisonment."
Yes, what he said.
she.
As she corrects, she goes, "And I am not a man. Thank you very much."
Milady, I do believe that's a she.
Yeah, I said that's what she said.
Sounds like a man.
Please speak more clearly into the enchantment.
Well, it'd help if we knew where they were located, milady.
Please do not have your slaves retort to me. They are beneath the palace guard.
Temenor's just gonna go set up with his kit and try his hand at just making healing potions, because those shouldn't explode.
Okay.
Shouldn't.
God, I hope
I will be having you roll later for that. No worries. All right. So while Temidar does that, let's go down the list. Terias, is there anything you're gonna work on or tinker with while you're in here?
Something that's gonna explode.
Anyone have a silent spell?
not at my level. No.
No.
Sigurd
no.
doesn't, surprisingly. Okay.
I'll
Uh-huh.
there are a couple quiet chemical compounds I can make.
That's what we like to hear. All right. You can give me a list later. I'll see how highly
yeah.
explosive they are. Sarah, what about yourself?
Well, after we get done writing all that stuff, is there like a fireplace or something like
yeah,
that?
there's one in your personal suite, yes.
Okay, if it's not lit, she will light it,
Okay.
and rip out the pages that we wrote on and burn it in the fire,
Okay.
along with any other wood that's actually starting a fire.
Yeah, no, I caught that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
As you go in, you see that this fireplace pre-set up, and you see a few what look to be little knobs set up with magical runes on them. One is literally written as fire starter, and the rune on the button seems to say firebolt carved into it. And the
That
wood.
makes it easy.
Yeah, the wood kind of stacks itself over into the fire pit almost immediately upon clicking this, and a fire starts almost immediately.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, once it starts, then she'll take the pages and make sure that they burn. that we wrote on.
Yeah, no problem. I have
The page-long description of what the heck that little airplane is.
no. Okay, Terias, I require you to explain how napalm is an explosive. I am.
It's not an
You are
explosive.
superheating
It's
gasoline.
incendiary. No, you're not. You're not superheating anything. The process of creating the napalm isn't explosive. It isn't dangerous at all. Once you light it,
It
that's
ignites
when it
upon
comes
impact
in.
with the target. Yeah, he's correct.
right.
See, this is the one reason you want to follow this campaign for those who are watching at home. I highly recommend. Well, if you're not watching at home, I have a lot of questions.
If you're
but
watching this in a library,
if you're
please
watching
stop.
this,
You might get arrested.
please make sure to follow because it's only on my streams or my D&D campaigns where you learn how to make napalm at home, kids.
What a class.
Yeah, we can teach you how to make mustard gas real easy. You just need a little bottle of bleach and oh no, my mic muted.
And the video skipped.
Wolf disappears and mutes. All right.
Oh no, the chemical engineer has left.
Yeah.
I suggest Dijon for the mustard
I'm
gas.
just busy.
No worries. All right. So yeah, not a problem.
Grey Poupon mustard gas.
Terias, I do expect you to explain how you got a hold of these chemicals later and how you're combining them. And that would be great. We'll do that off stream though. All right. And Mion, what are you planning to do?
Neon needs to brush her hair because she hasn't taken this hat off in a while.
Okay. So Mion's finally gonna groom themselves. The quarter tabaxi grooms themselves. All right. I will say Sigrun will kind of lay down and just start snoring in the background.
We have the white noise machine now.
Yeah, now as Terias starts to jingle things here and there, things kind of clank together every once in a while. They're covered up by the very loud, boorish snoring. All right. First off, Temidar, go ahead and give me an intelligence check with your proficiency bonus for your alchemical kit.
Alright, that'll be +3, so that'll be an 18.
Okay, so yeah, as you start kind of mixing things together, is there any potion you're going to specifically make, or are you just tossing things together to see what happens?
I'm aiming for things that will either assist against poison in the food, or honestly, healing potions are never terrible.
Oh, you would know Mion carries antitoxin.
Well, still, you carry it, he doesn't.
I carry like 10 vials for everybody.
This is true, but he wants to make sure there's always extra.
Okay, so...
You taught him redundancy, dang it.
I did.
Yeah, after a few hours, you managed to make about 5 vials of antitoxin. They're worth about 50 GP apiece, pretty much anywhere. So they're a good value item. Yeah, no explosions, a little jingling here and there. But again, with Sigrun's very loud snoring, nothing seems to really get through to the guards or cause any issues. Sarah, did I ask you what you were gonna do?
Well, the only
This
thing
is
was
burning.
the fire thing. But then you said there's like a full wardrobe. Are there
Yeah,
actually
wardrobe
clothes in
and yeah, there are full-on nobleman's clothing.
it? Sarah will wash up and throw on something from the wardrobe.
I will say they're
Yes.
both masculine, like suits, typically more accustomed to like warriors and those who would be more in stricter attire, like military attire, and then there are like dresses and more brightly colored jewelry and stuff. Is there anything specific, or just tossing it to random?
No, I think, let's see. I think she'll probably go for some sort of a dress, but not frilly.
Okay, so something a little more simple. Okay.
Yep.
It takes you a little while of going through. There's a lot of these pieces of clothing. They all seem to fit you magically and physically. But as eventually you find something, a very simple, almost like a deep green color that seems to fit on you very comfortably. Not very frilly, just a simple coloring concept. Very easy to wear, and still you realize as you look at the material as you kind of put it on around your legs, you could easily tear it if you needed to make a quick escape. And
Yeah, I'm just thinking if she has to demonstrate the bracelet, she wants something that's more form-fitting that won't potentially rip.
Okay. All right. As you are you good there, Terias? Are they all right?
Yep.
You taking off somewhere?
That is awesome. Yes and no.
Okay.
Not quite. I'm gonna be here
Okay.
at least till. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here a while.
All right. Well, we'll listen. All right. So yeah, as you finally find yourself a nice, comfortable setup with the dress that you find, a little while goes by. Mion takes you a good few hours to get all the knots, and eventually you gotta pull out some scissors here and there to get some of the matted hair out.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually you manage to clean yourself up pretty well. Being only quarter tabaxi definitely does help. Hair doesn't grow as rampant as you look at Temidar and see the matting on him. Realizing you may have to shave him later.
I'll at least give him a quick brushing for now.
All right.
Temar will assist in his rushing and utilize everything he can do to make sure he doesn't look terrible, because this is like meeting a high-grade customer.
Well, luckily most of your matting is hidden underneath your clothes, so it won't be as seen or noted. But okay, as you lot kind of get yourself dressed up, Sigrun continues to snore in the background, relaxing and enjoying. About 3 hours finally goes by, and the guards return. The captain of the guard once again returning and knocking on the door and waiting for the answer.
Sarah will answer it.
The captain of the guard goes, "Your dinner is prepared. You are expected. You and your slaves."
Thank you.
She nods and says, these 2 guards that are stationed here will be escorting you. And as you see the woman that the voice was coming from, and this is a drow that's probably around 250, 300 pounds, very big and brawny woman. She doesn't carry a traditional spear like the rest, where she carries almost a long sword clashed with a claymore as a halfway mark. And
Nice.
they kind of nod, and the captain of the guard goes, we'll be expecting you within the next few moments, and she turns and kind of walks off.
Head that way.
Okay. So Temidar and Mion, and I assume Terias is going to stay behind for the time being.
He wasn't allowed at this dinner.
He was
Correct.
not invited.
Yeah.
Slave of the slave.
The good news is Sigrun's still asleep and hasn't woken up, so
You won't be
You're
alone.
not left here alone.
you've got
You're babysitting Sigrun.
I'm continuing to make my napalm, and
Yep.
I know exactly how I'm gonna do it.
behind the sounds of a snoring Scrothe. Okay.
That sounds like a nature
Oh,
documentary.
Neon will leave in case the worst happens, a bottle of antitoxin
Okay.
with Terias.
And
Okay.
Temidar is gonna pass one out to
The sleeping
Correct.
Sigrun.
to Sarah.
Oh, Sarah? Okay. So a bottle of antitoxin that you can add to your inventory, Sarah?
Yep.
Alright. As you lot...
And he's gonna down one himself for the next, so that he's.
I will say, you don't have your backpacks right now on you, so you will be leaving those behind.
Yep.
In the room.
No, but the pack is part of my outfit.
Yes.
That I have my
so-
I can't really go.
As you lot begin heading down the long hallway, enjoying the fish that seem to swim underneath your feet and above you as you look up and see the small little aquariums with very colorful, different, distinct fish types of fish. Eventually, as you come to the center throne room again, where you initially met, you see a runner is standing there, and as he addresses the guards, he looks over at Sarah and goes, "I have another letter for you, Serafina, from the inventor formerly known as Shogun."
Okay.
And he hands
I
you the
will
letter.
take it. And she will read it.
All right. I don't remember
Read it.
what was in it, Mion.
It should still be in our chat somewhere. I'll send it. So
Okay.
because you don't have
Okay.
to work at that for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Once I find it.
All right. So as you lot continue on your way to the actual meeting hall, yeah, I can't see it. And heading down, seeing all these brilliantly colored fish, more of these beautifully painted pillars. You see the occasional member or drow that seems to kind of open their door for a moment, sees you lot, and then turns around and goes back into their room. Eventually, you are brought to a very small and shoddy-looking brick, almost like a red brick room. As you walk in with this very simple wooden table, chairs with small cushions set upon them, and whereas before you saw this mighty woman with long white hair, very clean skin, very well dressed, jewelry to the nine. Now you see a woman or a female drow wearing simple leather, a shaved head, and pock marks and scar marks all across her face. And then, of course, you see Adric sitting to the side of her. The older male who is now just sitting in what looks to be merchant's clothing again, similar to when you originally saw him. And as you enter, the guards kind of stop at the entrance, not walking in, not even able to see the princess herself. But as you're kind of ushered in, you immediately see her dressed in her commoner's gear and equipment. And she looks at you a lot and goes, "Please, sit, if you will."
Yeah.
She kind of
Yeah,
works.
Sarah will-
sit with
We'll
and
sit.
stay silent.
Okay. All right. As you sit down, Sarah, the princess looks at you and goes, "May I call you Sarah? Or do you prefer the name Seraphina?"
Sarah's fine. I go by that usually.
She nods and goes, "Well, then allow me to introduce myself properly. My friends call me Nali." She takes a second and kind of giggles at the name.
Sarah will nod and just say, "Nolly, nice to meet you."
So I understand. My husband knows you quite well. As she looks over at Adric, and you see, as you kind of get closer, you can see Adric's mouth is sewn shut.
Oh.
He's also, as you notice now, as you look over, he's got full iron gauntlets that stick him to the chair. That he is now stuck there. He can't seem to move.
It did seem from talking with him earlier that he may have been part of a, I don't know what she officially call them, but raiding party, war party that ventured into where my mother lived.
She nods and goes, yes, real sorry about that. We, had a little situation, there was a war that went on, beard cutters, there were tiefling attacking mountain dwarves. At the time, it was a good idea to invade the Hill Dwarven lands, and Cardessia definitely was one of our targets for invasion to gain vengeance for the last time. She looks at you and goes, "But my husband was a general. I doubt he saw proper combat, though I was told by an innkeeper he did like to sneak in as a merchant into the city on occasion. That was his way of infiltrating," as she puts air quotes up and kind of glares daggers at him.
Yeah, I am. I'll say fuzzy on the details. The story my mother told me was she met a merchant man when she was actually a little less than my age, and they fell in love, and then I was told that he died before I was born. Now, I do not know how much of that was true other than that she met a drow.
Well, the princess looks at you and goes, "And how old are you?"
I believe I'm 23. 1 second. Where's my description? 24.
She nods for a second and goes, "Interesting. And your mother, she was human?"
Yes.
The Nolly kind of nods and goes, "Based on simple mathematics, that would have been Adric's son that was in charge of the troops at that time." She looks at you and goes, "And he disappeared down beneath a while back. His mother was a descendant of Nasef." She looks at your bracelet for a second. The original owner and creator of that bracelet, if you will. However, only the women or only the males of that line can be are able to attune to his items. So that. She looks at you for a second, kind of like looking you up and down for a minute, eyeing you and going, "I'm very confused on how you managed to attune to such an item even if you do carry my husband's bloodline, then you should theoretically not be able to attune to that." And she looks at you kind of confused for a moment and goes, Well, I mean, I guess your best situation is to go and find Ardrick's son. Um, Thankfully, he's got the same name. He's just younger, Junior, as we called him. But that's all I can think to do in your situation. As she kind of just looks down at the table for a second and contemplates.
Yeah, when I used to be initially a guard and then a research assistant for an organization that seeks out ruins and artifacts. One of the times I was helping at that point research. We were raided by some just local bandits. They had pushed us back into farther into the ruins, and all of a sudden I was struck by something, and the next thing I knew, I had this bracelet on my wrist that I have since yet to be able to remove. So me attuning to it seems as much of a question as you have stated.
She looks at you and goes, "Yes, interesting. Well, that means technically either way you're considered royalty. You are part of the royal family." She looks at you and goes, "Which is unfortunate because that means you have to do something." She looks at you for a second, kind of frowns and goes, "I have a." She kind of stops and thinks for a second, kind of looking over at Temidar and me on it for a second, and says, why don't you have your slaves escorted back for the moment? I think it'd be better if me and you only talked, and I'll have Adric unbound and not killed now."
Sarah kind of pauses for a second, kind of glances to the rest of the people and says, very, very well. I'll be fine, I think.
Temidar nods. He nods to the princess and "Thank you for having us, milady," and walks out, waiting with the guard.
Okay. And me on?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll follow quietly.
Alright, you are eventually escorted back where you see Terias and Sigrun, and Sigrun's still snoring, and Terias still mixing together different components to cause death and destruction to everyone around him.
You know what? Temidar is gonna go and assist him.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well...
He is good at alchemy, so he can follow instructions on
This
mixing.
isn't alchemy.
He can follow instructions upon mixing, though, of certain amounts, so it can help.
We'll come back to that in a minute. I can feel Wolf's panic in the background. Oh shit, please don't help me, because that adds an extra roll to the problem. Alright. As Temidar and Mion find themselves escorted out for a second.
Oh wait, yeah, that's a better idea.
That scares me.
No, I actually gave a safer idea, don't worry.
Thank you. Sarah, we cut back over to you, and Nolly kind of looks at you and goes, "Well, the good news is you're royalty." As Adric is finally unbound and escorted out, still stuck to the chair. His mouth has been unbound, but he's still stuck in gauntlets. And she goes, "And don't worry about him. I'll have my blacksmith remove his hands." She looks at you for a second and goes, "So, I don't know how to tell you this, but if your father is Adric Jr., he is no longer with us. Last I understood, he had headed down. Adric had sent him on a mission to find out what the Aspidian Queen actually was requesting of us during this trying times of the new Zarius Empire, and what to do from here. And upon sending him, he has not yet returned. That was many moons ago. You, assuming what you tell me is true, your blood should unlock the doorway to head down there, into the deep underground to meet, if Adric is still alive. But due to your royal situation, she kind of looks at you for a second. If you do carry Nadav's bloodline, the queen herself may kill you outright because he did lead a rebellion against her and swore that his bloodline would one day kill her for what she had done. If you aren't, then you will be killed by the queen for not being royal and having royal blood and seeing her, which is one of the few things that... well, to be fair, you wouldn't be able to open the door. She takes a second to think. So, if you want your answers, you're going to have to face far worse odds than what you were probably hoping. She looks to you with almost a sympathetic look on her face.
Well, for as long as I can remember, I've thought my father dead anyway, so hearing news that he may have lived longer and everything else that I've come to probably understand is it's a bit overwhelming, but yeah.
She nods and goes, also, and she kind of reaches out her hand to take one of yours. She looks at you.
Yeah, she'll take it.
She looks at you as she holds your hand and goes, I should mention, we don't typically, as Drow, take wives of other races, at least the men don't, as part of our creed. Your mother may not have been as interested or had a choice in the situation as she takes a moment to look at you. Feel like
Yeah,
you can...
Sarah looks down and says, I've come to that realization, probably.
She nods and goes, well, if you mentioned you were seeking the tree anyways, if you wish to seek it, the only way through is with royal blood. If you do have the mark, you should be able to get through and you will be left without violence. But should you prove to not be able to open the door or open the door and be attacked, there's nothing I can do, but I can send you with your slaves so that you may have a better chance.
Yes, that would be good.
She nods and says, well, you have free reign of the city. You'll be escorted within the grounds if you need a few days. Just have one of the guards inform me of when you are prepared to make this journey. I will say it will take a week's march just through the tunnels to make it to the level where the tree is, and then it'll take you far longer to find the tree itself. But this is a journey you must take as part of royalty.
Very well. Thank you for your time and your wisdom that you've shared.
She nods, and she goes, one last thing. And she kind of gets a wry smile on her face. Don't tell anybody that I look like this. She looks at you and smiles and giggles a little bit. Air of mystique and all that.
I understand. As Sarah brushes back her hair to expose her ear, I've come to this realization.
Yes, though at least your ears can be hidden, as she kind of rubs her bald head.
Yes.
And she goes, well, good luck with you, and feel free to let me know when you are prepared. And I really should go make sure my husband has not been killed by the blacksmith again. This would be the third time this week.
Thank you. It has been eye-opening.
She nods and says, oh, and don't worry, your room will no longer be bugged upon your returning. And the guards kind of enter into waiting to escort you out.
Yeah, Sarah will, like, visibly sigh at that, whether she picks up on it or not. Like, it's unconscious thing. And thank you. Enjoy your evening. And then follow the guards back.
Okay. All right, as you head back, eventually coming into the group, you see as Terias is trying to explain how alchemy and chemistry are two different things.
Temidor
And-
accepts the explanation immediately and goes to make something else.
Fair enough.
I gave him a great idea for an invention.
He's gathering up some herbs from his bag and he's getting boiling water ready.
Okay. All right. And Mion, what was your safer bet to do?
Shampoo.
Oh. Okay. All right. So as you
Look, if he makes that explode, I'll be amazed.
you know what?
If I
You've
make
got
a
a good point.
shampoo
I hadn't
bomb-
even thought about that.
If I
Temidar.
make a shampoo bomb, I am marketing that shit.
That's a bath bomb. yeah.
Temidar, roll me an intelligence check with your proficiency bonus.
Hey, good news, that's a 7. I make a bath bomb.
Can I give help?
No, it manages to make it smells good. It's not doesn't do it all. It doesn't clean. It's just legitimately just a smelling good perfume, like a liquid perfume you can wash into your hair, which already exists in vast quantities.
Yeah,
But you didn't explode, and that's the good news.
I'll keep trying at this late, working on it throughout, trying to perfect it later.
Okay. As you lot kind of messing around with your individual tasks, eventually, about half an hour passes after you have returned, and Sarah enters the room, looking a little less stressed.
I pass Sarah the prototype perfume made with mint.
Sarah,
lavender.
you smell mint sauce and a lot of lavender, which has been overwhelming you all around this castle.
Yeah.
It was all that was offered to me. It sells very well here.
It's fair.
So it seems, just kind of saying to the room basically, apparently I'm royalty of the Drow. My understanding is, and so far I have no reason to not believe it, is on my return the room is no longer bugged. The listening devices have been turned off. So I believe it's safe to speak freely.
The guard knocks on the door and says, "It is. We have turned off the devices. However, I can still hear you."
Yes. Thank you.
Does the guard
You hear
say
the
it
knock
at
again
this
and go,
point?
"You're welcome."
What a
She
nice,
is so
what a nice,
polite.
honest person.
She is so polite.
Yeah. So Sarah will like motion into the other room that is the next one deep. Although Terias might be in the middle of something, he may not follow it up to everybody. But she will.
I'm here.
Okay, so he'll
Okay.
follow.
Temidar will follow as well.
Sarah will close the-
Shampoo.
Yep.
Yeah, Sarah will close the door and just say, so apparently it's tradition or something to that effect that royalty have to make this journey to a tree that is in the Underdark, that we've been allowed to all go together. This whole ruse of me being a master I really hate, but it seems to be working. Also, I received the letter that I received before we went in was from Shogun. Apparently, he's trying to recruit manpower to basically keep the world from exploding or imploding, I guess, as he said. So we have that option of doing that. Also, after, personally, I would very much like to try to make this trek to this tree to find more answers, but I'm putting it to the group.
Temidar is going to simply look at you and say, I can follow whatever Mother decides. If she follows you, you decide.
I've got no reason not to follow.
Well, then maybe we can. Terias, do you have an opinion?
The large one's asleep, so I don't think you'll get hurt again.
I'm gonna be real. I'm a lot better above ground than below. Sounds like there's kind of a crossroads. That being said, man, the world's going to shit. I'll follow you guys.
I mean, from
You seem
what
to
I
be
was
in
told,
charge.
from what I was told, is this trek to the tree will be about a week's worth. I mean, after that, we don't have to remain down there. I've never been in the Underdark. I have no idea what it will be like. Closest I've gotten is down in some ruins and
There's weird mushrooms down
old
there
places.
from what I've heard.
I have read some, but yeah, so maybe we can take this trek to the tree, see whatever that's about, and maybe see what this Shogun wants. I mean, it seems that if he doesn't want the world to implode, that seems to be aligned with at least what I want, and I assume what the rest of you want.
Well, I mean, if the world implodes, Mother, we can't keep our business going with that happening. We kind of need to stop that, right?
Yeah.
There's
No,
no one to
the-
kill if everybody's dead.
In the letter, there's a separate piece of paper which is the magic circle for you to send the letter back.
Yep. Yeah, I was just waiting to see what the group said.
Let's do your thing, then keep the world from imploding.
I
Also, I might
guess-
pick up some of those mushrooms because they're toxic. I might be able to make a stronger potion.
I will say,
Wait.
Sarah, given your background and your understanding, the Underdark was never mapped out by any race individually. The Duergar had managed to infiltrate it and set up their own catacombs. The Loxodon race had originally come from there, supposedly, and they were the only race to have a full knowing of the routes.
Okay.
And otherwise, the lost tribe of the Yuan-Ti that were said to have Tarrasque blood were the only other race known to live down there. But no other information. No explorer has really ever returned from the Underdark.
Yeah, I will summarize all that. And I guess at this point in time, a lot of things have been coming out about me. Does anybody have questions?
You hear a knock on the door from the guard going, "Do you want applesauce, or are you requesting a full meat patron dish?"
Well, there's your first question.
Second question is, can we get
The
extra
meat dish.
You hear a knock on the door going, "Got it!" And you hear
Tamara
someone
quietly
talking.
says, second question is, can we get extras on the meat dish?
My guess is we'll probably have plenty, but
God damn it, Wolf.
yeah, I mean, depending on where you guys have been in the conversation so far, yes, it seems my mother was forcefully taken, and I was the result of that. Apparently, I'm royalty.
Tamar doesn't look fazed by this. He just walks over, pats Sarah on the shoulder, and goes, at least your mother kept you. My parents dumped me at a monastery.
Bro,
Eventually, you hear a knock on the door saying, "Room service. Someone ordered the meat dish."
Demnar opens
Sarah,
the door and
yeah,
kind
gets it.
for Sarah. And
All right. The small drow woman walks in. She looks in her teenage years. Walks in and pulls off this big iron bowl and goes. And you see this massive chunk of meat just sitting there, braised in like a strange black like jam material. It wafts with the smell of barbecue. And the gal goes, "Enjoy!" And she turns, grabs the door, and closes it behind her.
Awesome.
All
it
right.
hasn't been
Thank
an hour
you.
yet, correct?
Huh? No, it hasn't.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I have saving throws against poison. I drink an antitoxin
Oh.
before going to the meal.
I was gonna. Okay, well the meal tastes great. It's not poison. I would have given you that one for free. But yeah,
Temidor
no, that's
wanted
fair.
to be sure.
As you lot sit down to eat and start discussing your plans for how you're going to accomplish this, while Sigrun continues to snore, and you see as little pouches as Terias kind of opens them, shoves them into a vial, and little smoke kind of comes spewing out on occasion. And then he kind of shakes the vial, and more liquids kind of expand from it. We're gonna call it there for today because next session's gonna be a bit more combat heavy. So I want to thank everyone for joining us, especially the massive crowd that we got for some weird reason. Thank you all. If you enjoy our content, feel free to give us a follow. Feel free to go subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Terios.
Yes. And make sure that you come back tomorrow at 4:30 PST or 5 p.m. PST for Monster Mondays. Or no, it's 3:30. All right. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock PST. There we go. I've got it. Man, I can't even remember anymore. I'm still thinking about the salt. And check us out. We will be streaming Monster
I can
Monday.
make that. Let's make some ice, some special salts.
If you enjoy the content, make sure you follow. Let us know. Go onto YouTube, subscribe. Tell us what you think of the characters. Tell us what you think you could improve. And if you would be interested in buying a book of the history of this world, we will see you all on the next one. Have a good night.